Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another match of the Touhou Project Mania Cup 4th iteration. Once again back with yet another match in this group stage phase of the tournament. We've had quite a bunch of matches here and there that have been pretty all over the place and and some few bangers here and there. But we are back once again after a little break, as mentioned earlier. Going to be coming back at you with none other than File Archivers Seed 60 going up against Cino Fan Club Seed 43. So both these teams making it out of the qualifiers phase of this tournament with some, despite the harsh sort of maps that it had, and yeah, they're going to be facing each other in this map pool. But of course, I'm your host, Epic Man 2, and joining in alongside me is going to be none other than Nightkore. How's your day been? What's rocking?
Yo, hello, Epic Man. Good to have you in commentary booth with me. It's going to be definitely an interesting match to see Sanae Fan Club versus File Archivers, as you said. Kind of just looking at both these teams. I'm fairly familiar with some of the players. Fairly familiar with Suki and Whiskers. Professional player in the 7-key scene, and actually the 4-key scene as well. Survey and that no-name boy as well. I do believe they were the German MWC team or the 40M team. And for File Archivers, yeah. I think I'm pretty only familiar with Korjak. But that's going to be it. It's going to be a really good game, I do think we should see. So how do you think it's going to turn out?
Honestly, I think seeing how both these teams have done in the qualifiers, looking at their lobbies and whatnot, I think this is going to be a pretty sort of how do I say, it's one of those matches that are probably going to go back and forth in a way, considering that there is a pretty vast difference in if you were to compare both of their scores together, considering that we've seen File Archivers sort of struggle in most of the maps, whereas Cino Fan Club sort of has maybe the edge on some maps, but then when it comes to later game stuff, the consistency is kind of a bit of an issue for both these teams in in some sort of realistic light. So that's probably gonna be a bit of an issue in this match. Maybe not as much as it is in qualifiers, considering that even the hardest stuff in this match isn't going to be as hard as say stage 6 from qualifiers, which was the sort of late game tiebreaker inspired map, I believe, by Ilson. Shouts to them. But overall, I think this is relatively early into the tournament, so not much is going to shift the ties really, and we can see that we're going to be seeing File Archivers win the Protects early on.
Oh, I 100% agree with what you said there. Again, the qualified pool difficulty would definitely more stray towards the classic race. So I think both these teams will probably be fighting it out on the non-classics, the more maps we have. It's because okay, sorry. So, yeah, getting into the protects now, File Archive is going to be protecting our technical pick, Rice 4. So, it's up to Sanae Fan Club to see what they're going to be responding with it. And judging by the qualifiers, I won't be surprised if they're going for one of the LNs or hybrids to protect. Most likely, I would think they'd be going for more of the release-oriented ones, just kind of knowing their players. I do believe that Survey is not really too bad at LN, along with Sukiya and that no name. And no, they're going to be going for a classic Rice 1 protect, which is going to be kind of the stream, jump stream, kind of heavy pick. I would say more stream-ish, which I do believe it was in Touhou Mania Cup 3 semis.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the classic maps in this pool are mainly tournament reuses, so I don't think I'd be surprised if this was in Touhou Cup 3rd, considering that I mean, I don't remember the pools off the top of my head, but I know that Werewolf House was in MWC 2021 semis, and also Walter Lily was also in MWC 2023, either round of 32 or something. Yeah, I think it was round of 32 or round of 16, maybe round of 32. Yeah, but we're gonna be seeing But now that both the protects have been made, we're going to be seeing China Fan Club going to go out immediately for the LN2 ban. So that's Lucky Cow going to be taken out of the equation, the LN density map. So Fall Archiver is going to be looking to ban like maybe one of the Rice maps, considering that it is basically their strongest bet against China Fan Club, in my opinion. So they're probably going to want to ban maybe Classic Rice 2, which is far away.
Classic Rice 2 won't really be too... Classic Rice 2 is probably one of their best options for their next... I do believe it's their first ban, so yeah, as you were saying, maybe it might not be too bad for them to ban that. Now I'm kind of more interested in kind of DLN2 ban, but see, that's kind of what interests me a small bit. Actually, no, never mind, I mixed up the bans. So, Fall Archive is going to be banning Classic LM1. Again, kind of is a small red flag to see that Fall Archive is definitely going to be straying towards more, probably trying to win more on the accuracy side, consistency side, while I think Cino Fan Club is definitely going to be jumping straight into more the physical picks. And yeah, as seen now, Cino Fan Club going to be banning Rice 1, kind of the lighter jump stream. Maybe something like Rice 2 or even Rice 3 could have also been potential for one of their bans against Fall Archivists, but anything is really up on the tables for them. So
yeah.
We're just going to be getting it.
Yeah,
we're going to be
absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be gaming. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, obviously what you've said has made a lot of sense there. Like even if I didn't speculate correctly that they would have banned like Classic Rice 2, it does like make all the more sense for them to be able to like for Fall Archivers to go out for banning like some of the more physical maps in this pool, and especially with Werewolf Howls, we've seen from their qualifier lobby that they didn't have like really the best of luck on these LN and hybrid maps. So it does make all the more sense that they're going to be banning Classic Hybrid 1 as well alongside that. So leaving only the Classic Rice maps like untouched, and basically just only 2 of, and so yeah.
It kind of raises a small red flag for me, because when I think of them banning the LN hybrid, there's either 2 ways I see it. One, they're not really too confident in kind of like acting physical LN, or secondly, they're either not really too confident as LN as a whole, kind of the fundamentals. So it could be a red flag for them, maybe for Cino Fan Club to take advantage of that and maybe go into LN1 and maybe in Hybrid 2 and 3, because I do know Hybrid 2 and 3 are probably more the physical map, or more the maps onto the physical end of the pool.
Yeah,
outside
absolutely.
of the classic maps.
Yeah, absolutely. All things like considered, like in general, like Fall Archivers, like from what we've seen, as mentioned, they're like sort of like their strong suit is most likely what I'd say would be the Rice department. Maybe not like the very physical Rice, but like just like the earlier game Rice. Like even when it comes to like some small like sort of like some of these like really funny like early game Rice maps here, they can like sort of struggle a bit with them, but that might be like their strongest like pursuit against China Fan Club here. But then again, this might be a bit of an uphill battle for them to be able to face, considering that China Fan Club is really like sort of physical when it comes to the Rice maps, and that it's most likely their strongest field in my opinion. And we're going to be seeing Fall Archivers go out immediately. First things kicking it off with Rice 2, which is Azakari no Yuki by GB Vito, the core jack map of this map poll.
It's kind of ironic that the player core jack picked the core jack pick.
Yeah. Yeah. They just got to spread the core jack agenda, you know?
Okay, so this is going to be the purest of the purest accuracy we see here. Now, most people who do play this map, I usually see them coming out with, you know, V1 double S's, double digit 300s, even some 2-digit 300s. I do believe today, when I was casting Dev's match, he got 6 300s, which I do believe that is one of the closest scores we have gotten. Which, you know, one that is definitely possible, but I'd say like the hardest thing about this map is probably the halfway transition with some of the roles. Although they're light, they will probably catch out 300s the most on some players.
Yeah, yeah, especially like in the early game, seeing like maps such as this when it comes to core jack and stuff, it's like really like not so dense in comparison to like what you would normally see in like your run-of-the-mill tournaments which has like core jacks like sort of integrated into them. And so far we can see all the players like starting off, Era Serby holding the strongest ratios so far, and Lotex09 not too far behind, just like both players and we can see Serby taking a bit of a misjudgment here that's going to like falter their accuracy down to just the same as around Lotex09 approximately. Korjak and Zeno Pengueno like basically like just under that. Zeno Pengueno so far holding the strongest accuracy, just about matching Serby and Lotex here of China Fan Club. But Korjak is kind of faltering a bit behind into the second half, which is kind of a dangerous sign, as the score lead is now 20k over onto Cino Fan Club side.
May I just add on as well that Korjak did miss near the start, and you do not want to miss on a map like this. Especially, one, this map's only 1 minute 40, and secondly, this map is pretty much the accuracy map, and with that second miss again, I don't think there's going to be enough time to recover. Like, just looking at the accuracy from all the players, and again, this map does not have much notes in it. So, you know, even with a single miss or even a single 200, it can still turn the tides for anyone. And it does look like Cino Fan Club is going to be grabbing onto that breakpoint, giving them a hefty climb up the mountain.
Indeed it is. In general, like having like some of the easiest maps like in a map pool and just not being able to like maybe keep the most consistent and like score like on the map, it can really put a massive like detriment onto your score in general, especially when you're facing teams like Sanae Fan Club here. As we can see, their ratios are kind of scary. Era Serby getting just sub 50 perfects, bar that one great, and Lotex09 just at the 120 mark. Zeno Pengueno still basically almost getting to where Lotex's ratio was, but not going to be enough from like the consistency alone of Fall Archivers, which was basically their downfall for this pick. So which opens up room for China Fan Club to make an even bigger move here in this chessboard, as we can see. Just like now that they've like basically opened up and showed like some weakness on that first pick, this basically opens like some room for China Fan Club here to pick another Rice map, and they're gonna be going Rice 4, which is Me by YuEast. So this being like more technical, on the contrary, this is going to be like maybe a bit like harder for like, this is probably going to be like either easier or harder for like all these players, all things considered, considering this is like more of an accuracy test. So this might be dangerous for like Fallout Archivers if they're not too careful here.
This is definitely this is definitely going to be a lot harder compared to what we've seen in Race 2. Maybe because in Race 2 you're pretty much only being tested on one pattern. Meanwhile, for Race 4, it's more technical, where you do have to kind of control the bursts, the mini jacks, a bit of jump stream in the middle, however being fairly light. But even then, it's still definitely possible to get that 2-digit 300 count. And also, may I just add that Cino Fan Club had picked File Archivers Protect.
Oh yeah. We'll just have to see. Okay, that might, if they end up like winning off of their Protect and choose while they chose it, it might be pretty disrespectful just going into this match, especially for a team that is probably like, oh no, like on a different, that may be on a different league to the likes of China Fan Club, as we could see here. And so far, getting into this intro, Cino Fan Club finding a bit of the advantage here. Survey holding the highest accuracy so far in the whole lobby, as Korjak basically taking the miss there, right as I say that on the clock. But Zeno Pengueno so far holding on to the FC still, despite like some of these like pretty challenging like bursts and some of these anchored jacks here, as we can see.
So kind of more about this map. See, why did say that it would be kind of disrespectful to pick their Protect. Maybe I would be thinking that the Cino Fan Club or Center Fan Club. I'm just calling them Center Fan Club from now on. Maybe they probably wanted to protect this first, but you know, Fall Archivers, I do believe winning the realm might have protected this first. But as we're going to see here again, Kojak has climbed their accuracy a bit back up despite having that miss. But just the overall accuracy from Cino Fan Club is significantly better. And now we're getting into the halfway point where, you know, we're just getting the light jump stream. And we do get some accompanying mini jacks as well before we head into the second drop, which is pretty much similar to the first. So players will kind of just have to keep on their toes just so they do not get any misjudgments.
Indeed, and like just getting through like some of these like really sort of like dump oriented sections as well, like past like some of these nitty gritty like pretty burst oriented like Rise sections in general. It's really taking a toll on like Fall Archivers, as we can see here. As you can see, not being able to like get the best accuracy as strong as Cino Fan Club, as we can see here, still hanging. Aerosurby still hanging on to the 99.90% accuracy. Lotex following a bit closer to that as well. And even though Kojak have built their accuracy back up, they dropped once again, which was basically just delivering themselves the final blow on this pick, unfortunately for them, giving Cino Fan Club the second point of this match to start off with.
We'll be seeing a two-way V1 double S as well from Cino Fan Club. Even without the misses, the accuracy just on their side was much greater compared to Fall Archivers, which, you know, now that Cino Fan Club do have a breakpoint advantage, and actually winning Fall Archivers Protect kind of puts Fall Archivers in a fairly risky spot right now.
Yeah, indeed. I think at this point, Cino Fan Club just like sort of wants to assert that they have like a lot of options here to like exhaust if they really wanted to, and it's a really dangerous thing to really go up against, considering that this is basically like one of your first matches in this whole tournament, and like being in this group stage, there is a chance that you might not even be able to like get into the round of 32 bracket, which is basically the ideal placement that you want to get into in this tournament if you want to like be able to proceed, considering that it's not very often that we see tournaments have stuff like group stages as well. Like I think the last time we've really seen stuff like that was back in Speed of Light 3 or Soft 6, for example, which was like years ago at that. And basically they're just on like a second qualifier stage, so we could see it's just on the qualifiers if it was just cooler and fancier maybe.
I do believe the group stage was used in International Griffin League hosted by Porky Square.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that was, I'd say, about 2 years ago from now, which is still kind of a long time when we actually come to think of it.
Yeah, it was back in late 2023, I believe, because like I remember I was like going to map a qualifier for it, but it didn't end up like working out in the end, so I just didn't end up like making anything for it in the end. But despite that, Fall Archivers going to be picking out Rice Free, so that's going to be Maigono Echo. This is also a bit of a technical pick, but this one is like a bit lighter than me in the contrary, considering that this is like a lot like more light, but this doesn't like mean that it's like very like free or anything, considering that this is still relatively bursty, and it can definitely catch like some people off if they're not too careful, really.
There is kind of a bit of contrast between the spap, I would say. Well, while both of them are fairly dumpish and kind of vocal dump, well, this one is more vocal dump, I would say, and not really technical at all. See how this is fairly longer handing out. The patterns are definitely lighter, so it's going to be more vocal dump burst instead of more technical burst. And since again it's 3 minutes long, so you're just gonna have to kind of keep up for most of the map, as it doesn't really change throughout the entire map.
Yeah, indeed. And going to be seeing Kojak going to be switching out with Ufex here, and that no-name boy going to be switching, and also Aerosurby going to be switching out with that no-name boy. So the team captain going to be coming in for this match for in favor of Cino Fan Club. And so far, all players are like already like sort of really close to each other. Ufex taking a bit of a massive drop like earlier on in the map. That's going to give them like a bit of a disadvantage, but Lotex trades it back as well. That's going to bring the lead over to Fall Archiver's side for the time being, getting into this first quarter. Could we see like Fall Archivers taking their first point like this?
There's definitely a good chance, especially if Fall Archivers definitely do not take any more detrimental drops, even if it is a couple of 300s as well. But I do think the lead might shift back towards over because Lotex has definitely caught their accuracy back up, kind of shaking the dust off the boots a small bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting past like the first half as well, like it seems like both the players in Fall Archivers haven't shown like a very, very visible sign of like slowing down, even though like there has been some accuracy drops from either of the players that have brought the lead back onto Cino Fan Club's side and bringing it over to about 3,000 points as well. This is basically really dangerous for them now, considering that they had the point lead like earlier on, but they like just ended up fumbling it because of some of these like pretty bursty patterns. And we can see UFX is like struggling relatively a lot with these patterns in question, which is not the best sign or signal for them here.
While still managing to keep onto that combo, it's just really the accuracy that's kind of hindering the performance of them. But now as we do get past the halfway transition where, you know, we're not really seeing those one-handed drills anymore, and I do believe that was where UFX was kind of struggling on. So maybe they might catch up a small bit, but even then there's not much map left, so something detrimental is probably gonna have to happen over on Cino Fan Club. It's not just gonna have to be a single miss as well, because a lot of 200s are being given over on Fall Archiver's side.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with like a lot of these like drops that Fall Archivers have been taking, this is probably like spelled the point for Cino Fan Club, because like with the source of the map like out of the way, there isn't really like many opportunities now for like matters to change. Even with that no-name boy taking a miss at the very end, that's not going to mean anything, considering the large score lead margin that Cino Fan Club had getting into the match point.
Now that kind of raised a small red flag, and another red flag again for Fall Archivers. You know, losing that second breakpoint as well gives Cino Fan Club a really big advantage, especially that, you know, well, for a start, most of the rice picks are exhausted already, so you're going to mostly have to jump into LN. And secondly, Cino Fan Club also does have to protect of Classic Rice 1, which I will not really be too surprised if they would just jump into that straight away.
Yeah, indeed. And like, I think at this point, Fall Archivers has basically just run out of like their best options to like try and like secure some sort of like advantage on if they want to be able to like keep themselves in this bracket here. As we can see, Cino Fan Club has like basically shown dominance across like all the maps that have been played so far, and we're gonna be seeing them pick out LN1. So that's gonna be Necrophantasia by Esmer, and this is going to be a bit of a problem for Fall Archivers, considering that if we're going by like the qualifiers and whatnot, they've shown like on their lobby that their results are kind of mixed when it comes to like a lot of these like sort of LN maps. Like, sure, they have people like Korjak, who is also like sort of capable of LN, as I can see here, but then the concern is raised when it comes to like the other players, considering that I don't think they're like as like well versed in LN as Korjak can be, which is a bit of a problem for Fall Archivers here getting into this LN. But it's relatively easier than like what we have seen in the qualifiers, so maybe I could be wrong. Who knows?
Well, the way I would really describe LN1 is it is very timing heavy. So it is just going to be your coordination map, but you know, it does speed up around the second half. So we're just gonna have to see how both these teams do, kind of managing heavy release. Even then, you could still like be able to combo this, but again, accuracy is going to really matter a lot for a pick like this.
Yeah, indeed. I think in general, like, it really, when it comes to Ellen maps, it really just more or less boils down to like how well you can like just simply act through these like sort of Ellen coordination patterns, even in like other like sort of departments of Ellen as well, like be it technical, density oriented, and just like wildcards in general. Like coordination is like arguably probably one of those like simpler sort of LN types of maps to be able to play in general, considering that it's a lot less sort of like heavy. It can be pretty heavy depending on like the map itself. If you were to go into like maybe the harder like sort of like fields of LN coordination, like maybe timing hell maps, for example, that exist out there. But like this one is like a lot easier in comparison, and we can see Arasurbi taking a drop here that's going to give Fall Archivers their early lead, and that's something they don't want, but it was really early into the map, so I don't know how much that really like holds up, or at least if it is going to hold up here.
I do believe it was either a keybind mishap or probably just a temporarily keyboard bug. We're just looking away from the screen because it was more just like full misses compared to pretty much everything else. And actually, both full combos already from Center Fan Club are gone. That gives a hefty advantage to Fall Archivers, and definitely a nice cushion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling that this cushion might not last for very long, and that's basically what I've been saying. Like, Zeno Pengueno, like, going into this pick has had, like, some pretty, like, just overall, I feel like, in comparison to Korjak here, who is holding on to the strongest accuracy in the lobby so far, hanging on to the 99.70% accuracy so far. Zeno Pengueno's, like, consistency in, like, trying to like act these LNs is just not as consistent. It's like leagues behind, and it's basically just costing them the point here, which is like a situation that they don't want to be in, considering that this is in the lower bracket of the group stage. So like if they end up like losing on this map, then that's probably gonna spell it for them in their whole tournament, even before they even make it to the round of 32. As Cerner Fan Club just hanging in there and making it back into the equation, bringing back the score lead once more.
And here we are getting into the final quarter. Again, it's gonna be a lot faster and not as release heavy. Actually, Zeno Pengueno actually getting a drop into that transition into the final quarter. But as we're just seeing here, it does get a lot more inverse. I wouldn't say inverse heavy, but we do see a lot more of these clustered releases, which could be fairly simple for some players. But Zeno Pengueno finding a drop again near there. Even with those drops, I think that might be enough pretty near to do it. But you're just gonna have to see if anything does kind of change out throughout the very end of the map, as long as the client just wants to load.
Yeah, the thing is, though, that like there honestly isn't even much of the map left, and okay, what is that client issue there?
Is that disconnect? Okay, no, surely it won't be a disconnect.
It can't be a disconnect, because like it's just frozen on Lotex's like side. Here, wait, imagine. Okay, so all the other players have like finished the map, but Lotex is just stuck there. What?
Well, if we do get the MP, maybe if we do probably see the MP.
Oh, I have the MP link. It's not showing anything right now, but okay, no, yeah, that was a disconnect from Lotex. That's very unfortunate, considering this was like very late into the map. So unfortunately, that's not going to like give the opportunity for them to replay the map or anything like that.
Hold on. It looks like the ref is trying to solve this. Maybe if Flowtex does provide a screenshot of their score, maybe that could technically count. So we're just gonna have to have a quick. So it's just gonna have a quick break, just trying to see if Flowtex score actually does count, which I do believe we provided proof. Most likely, there will probably be proof.
Yeah. That's kind of random, like, seeing in this match. I mean, I think this is like the first time I've for the time I've spent like commentating, I think this is like one of the first few times I've seen this like happen in a while. So I'm honestly like not sure like what the issue may be or anything like that. Like just seeing this happen on the Ellen map.
Well, disconnects are fairly uncommon, but they do happen quite a bit. I do remember MWC 2022 in Philippines versus South Korea did happen that they get the tiebreaker.
Oh yeah.
I remember some other instances. Even then, I don't think the score did matter much as I did South Korea with it in that pick. Either way.
Do you remember that one time in 4DM 2024 where like oh, what was it? It was like this one match in round of 16 where they were playing like this one blue archive map or whatever. It was the one by Rev or something, and like that was like this one moment where like literally like the whole match took like a lot longer because one of the players like ended up like soft locking for a bit, and then like the stream just like proceeded like just watching their play only. I forgot which match that was for, though.
I do remember that actually.
Yeah.
I think it is in the highlights.
Yeah, no, it was in the highlights, I believe. Yeah. That one was just funny to think about. I don't know, just like thinking about like random like sort of disconnects that just happen here and there. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not funny. I guess it just depends on the scenario, really. Just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of things that can happen through mid-match, which again, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
So if I do believe that this doesn't go to Cino's fan club way, even then, Fall Archivers don't really have much picks left. Again, all the easier Rise picks have been exhausted, so they can only go face on pick Cino fan club's Protect, or they can jump into Rise 2, maybe try win that. But even then, if you were kind of more straying away from the classic picks, maybe that might not really be too much of the best option.
Yeah. I think for me personally, like, I think like if I was to like sort of realistically try and see like where they could go like from here, they could probably like go for like some of these hybrids. Like, granted that we've seen like in Fall Archivers that they might not have the best consistency when it comes to like these kinds of like Allen patterns, considering that hybrid one has like sort of coordination like oriented patterns, which might throw the likes of some of these players off, and then 66 on those like a bit takes that but puts it on a more like sort of technical metric that makes it slightly harder, but still like, oh, and it seems that turns out Cerner fan club's gonna be taking the victory from Allen 1.
Yep, it does look like the score was allowed through. And yeah, that did go to Cino fan club. So GG well played to all players. It was still a very close match throughout. And Cino fan club are going to be advancing into the round stage. So unfortunately, that means we will have to be saying goodbye to Fall Archive. So, yeah, it's pretty unfortunate, but you know, that's kind of how group stage does work and how most formats work either way.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's always next time, pretty much.
Indeed, yeah. In general, Fall Archivers, I think they could have been like a strong team, considering that Korjak had like a bunch of potential as a player, and from what I had seen, like personally, I think like overall there's like a bunch of room to like maybe sweep the floor with, but I don't think that instantly means things are over for them, considering that they still have a bright future ahead and so on. Cerner fan club going to be advancing to the next like bracket or something like that in the group stage, which is going to be next week. But overall, all things considered, everything should still be, I think. Okay, nah. Cerner fan club's going to be taking that victory and advancing no matter what. So yeah, is there anything you'd like to say before we close the stream off, Nightkore?
really. I do believe the next match is in 25 minutes. We do have actually 2 matches, which is going to be Adrian Laser Fanboys versus Girlfriend ASMR, and Retiredos Peligros versus Ton 618. I do believe that one. I do believe the second one is the one getting streamed. So I do believe you are commentating for that. Never mind.
Yeah, I am.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. Actually, no, there's 3 matches on that time. There is another one, and it is Una Familia de 10 versus We Hate Femboys as well. So 3 matches on it, 19 UTC. Actually, okay, never mind. 2 of them are being streamed, and the second one is Girlfriend ASMR versus Adrian Laser Fanboys. I do believe that is getting streamed on Bilibili, while we do have the second match being streamed on the Twitch. So stay tuned for 2 of those matches. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. So do you have anything to say before we do close out for 20 minutes?
Honestly, not really. I think you've pretty much like taken the words out of my mouth there. But yeah, nonetheless, we got another match in about 25 minutes from now. Technically 24 minutes, but so yeah. Feel free to take a little breather if you want, and we'll catch you then for the next match.
Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.